Hi there, grade 11. So, just some quick tips for your first um, exam question, okay, for this uh, quarter. Okay, it's a dead simple exam question, and you should not get overwhelmed with it just because I say it's an exam question, okay? It's practice on what you will do in the real exam, okay? Just because I'm not there at the moment, please do not think you're at any disadvantage, okay? Um, as you can see, for paper one exams, you'll answer two essay style questions. The essay style questions are split into two parts, part A and part B. For this assignment, you are going to answer a part A style question, which is 10 marks. Okay. In the exam, for both of part A and part B, you get 45 minutes, which isn't long. That means for the part A question, you should spend about 15 minutes on this. Okay, that's all it is. So this isn't a massive assignment. You don't have to get all riled up about it and scared about it. Okay, um, I mean, if you're spending any more than 30 minutes on it for homework as part of handing it in, you're probably spending too long about it, and you probably don't know the stuff that you're being asked a question about. And your answer should be about 1 page, okay? 1 page and a half at most. If it's more than 1.5 pages, you're probably waffling and you're not going to get any marks for that, okay? But most of you should be able to answer it with the diagram in 1 page. Okay, so I don't want you to get all stressed about this assessment just because I'm not there. Okay, so that's a little bit of an overview of how it fits into how you're going to be assessed. And just another point on that, it is where you end up in 2 years' time. When you take those exams in 2 years' time and get those results, that is the mark you should be bothered about. Okay, you should be caring about your marks up to that point, but you're not going to get perfect exam marks straight away because we haven't spent any time on there. Okay, I'm looking for improvement along the whole year. If you're getting excellent marks from day one, maybe you don't need to be in my class. Okay, so please don't get too carried away about your grade point average. Okay, it's your exam marks at the end of the 2 years. Okay, right, some tips then on this first assessment. Okay, we can sort of split this into two parts, that part A question. Okay, so I've changed the question only slightly, talking about ice creams as opposed to bicycles. Okay, so we just have to answer the question with reference to different determinants of demand. Explain why the demand curve for ice cream might increase. Use a diagram to support your answer. Okay, the first thing we need to do in a question like this is to define the main things here. Okay, so I'm going to define what a determinant of demand is. Okay, you should have covered this. Um, uh, so I'm not going to say what it is. You just need to go over your notes again. You could define what demand is. Okay, and you could also say what the demand curve is. So if I just flick onto some notes here. So as we can see, all this information is readily available in your books, but also on the internet. You can see the web page I'm looking at, ibguides.com, economics notes demand. Okay, so here we go. Demand. Demand is the total amount of goods and services. There you go, you've got a definition. What does a law of demand state? Okay, if you think it's relevant to the question, pop it in. But remember, stick to the question. The demand curve. Okay, so the demand curve represents the relationship between the price and the quantity demand of a product, and so on. Then it's got the determinants of demand. So again, hopefully you've gone through this in class. So remember, the determinants of demand is shifting the entire demand curve. Okay, if we're looking for an increase in demand, we're shifting the demand curve to the right. So here we're shifting to the right. Okay, if we said the price of ice cream had gone up from P2 to P1, we would just move along the demand curve. Okay, likewise, we might say the price of ice cream has decreased from P1 to P2. We're just talking about price, so we just go along the same demand curve. If we're talking about any other determinant, i.e. non-price determinant of demand, we're talking about a shift in the demand curve. So for example, ice cream, which one of these could determine an increase in the demand for ice cream? So income rises. Okay, we might presume that the ice cream is a normal good, which means it, as price increases or decreases, more is demanded. Okay, so likewise as income, if we get more income, we might decide to buy more ice cream just because we've got some more money. So that could be a determinant of demand for ice cream. Okay, so for you, you have to do bicycles. Could income have a bearing on this? You might say that bicycles are actually inferior goods because maybe if the price of cars and petrol goes down so much, maybe people don't want to ride bicycles anymore. Maybe you might say it depends on what type of bicycle it is. Some bicycles may not be inferior goods because of how all the different sports you can do on them or something. Okay, so you need to relate it to bicycles. Taste and preferences. So for example, there's been an advertising campaign saying ice cream is really good for you. Okay, or it's really hot outside and there's been some adverts on TV and it makes you want some ice cream. So that could be something that shifts the demand curve for ice cream. Again, you need to do it for bicycles. Price of substitutes and complements. So maybe the price of ice cream cones has decreased. Okay, so a complement there. Because the price of ice cream cones has decreased, more people are willing to buy ice cream. For substitutes, maybe the price of lollipops have increased, so therefore people will prefer to buy more ice creams. As you know, you go to the ice cream stand, you can have lollipops, you can have ice cream. Lollipops have doubled in price, so you might decide to go for ice creams. So that's another factor, that non-price determinant of demand, that you could write in this question. But again, you need to relate it to bicycles. So maybe in this case, the trying to think of a complement to go along with that you would buy along with bicycles. So maybe a bicycle helmet. So the price of bicycle helmets have decreased. Okay, they give them away free with every bike. That might persuade some people to buy a bike now. So that's the price of substitutes and complements. Demographic changes. So maybe the population grows. So therefore more people want ice cream. Maybe the amount of young children has increased in the population. So therefore, what do you do if you go to the park with some children? You buy more ice cream. So maybe the demand for ice creams increases because of that. Okay, so they're the things that you'd talk about, and the things that you'd give an example for, and that you'd define in there. Okay, so we talked about determinants of demand. For the second bit, so once we've done the definitions and we've done examples, okay, for ice cream, for you, you're going to be talking about bicycles. You then need to draw the diagram. Okay, so the diagram needs to be accurate. Okay, the axes need to be labeled. So in this case, this isn't a very good labeled diagram, because I know I'm talking about ice cream, so I should have put ice cream prices, and I could put dollars or pounds if I've got that information, or euros or lei. Okay, same here, quantity. Okay, I know I'm talking about ice cream, so I say quantity of ice creams. Okay, and we need to have P1 and P2, Q1 and Q2, D1, D2, so all the lines labeled. We could even mark these equilibrium points. Okay, so moving to this then, we need to then describe this diagram appropriately using the labels. So in the context of ice cream, we could say we start off at a price P1 and Q1 for ice cream, because there's been a new health study that says ice cream is really healthy for you, and could, if you have an ice cream a day, you could add 5 years onto your life. This could increase demand, so shifting demand from D1 to D2. Okay, because of this increased demand. If the price stayed at P1, there would be excess demand in the market. So if we carried on the dotted line over here, there'd be excess demand because this is the amount that's being supplied here, but this is the amount that's being demanded at that price. So the suppliers see this, and they see this as a signal that there's excess demand in the marketplace. So they will increase the price from P1 to P2 to get rid of that excess demand in the market, causing price to go from P1 to P2. And this causes the the quantity supplied and demanded to increase from Q1 to Q2. Okay, and that's all you have to do in the question. It's really easy, but it's a skill that you have to practice. Okay, so for this, just get on and do it. Don't spend any more than 30 minutes. Just do what I just explained, but you need to do it in the context of bicycles. Okay, no more than a page. That's including your diagram. But the important thing, label your diagram. So again, I say this isn't labeled correctly because I know we're talking about ice cream, so it should be price of ice creams in a particular currency if I know that, or I can just presume it. And this should be the quantity of ice cream. Okay, and then you need to refer to this in that final section here, and your advice explain the diagram in more detail. Okay, and then just finally, if I go back to your mark scheme that you can find on Schoolology, this tells you where you should be. So if basically you've shown some understanding, you've defined some economic terms, there's some knowledge of relevant economic theory, but there's some errors, you're going to get 4 to 6. Okay, if you do all that and put a diagram in, you're in this box here, you're automatically up to 7 or 8. If you explain it really well, okay, you're going to be in the 9 or 10. Okay, it's really simple. Do not get stressed about this. Okay, that's all from me, and this is me probably checking out until you come back on your trips, apart from some of your marking of your assessments, because I need to spend some time with my baby son, and officially I'm not working. So please see Miss Anna if you need some help, and get on and do this. Bye bye.